AI isn't the future anymore. It's here now. And so many business owners are still not taking advantage of the incredible benefits that can come from that. And I made a video about this last year and we went into a whole bunch of principles. And I told you last year that you had time. Well, now time is actually running out because we're going to talk about all of these principles today about building AI automation systems and some different frameworks that you need to understand in order to implement AI effectively into your business. But before we begin, let me tell you that we really need to start taking action now. Whether that's learning a little bit of automation yourself or whether that's hiring somebody to help you implement those AI systems. But if you're going to do that, make sure you understand these principles that we talk about today. So in this video, I'm going to talk about your lowest risk and highest ROI way to implement AI into your business. I'm going to give you a few key frameworks that you should follow. So whether you're hiring an agency or implementing it yourself, I'm going to show you the easiest and fastest way to start building an AI system into your business today in order to get back your time, but ensure that it's going to be completely productive for you and your organization. So let's dive into this now. And just a quick overview, I run Big Moves AI, where we build out a bunch of systems. We do tools reviews. I run MakeBigMoves.ai, which is our AI system agency. We don't build automations, we build AI systems, something I'm going to talk about in a moment. And we have a community with a bunch of products. We've had more than 700 people purchase our products. And I fell into this after I had a pet care business that I sold a couple of years ago now. And we kind of fell into this because I built a great system for my team back in that company. And then I started sharing about it on YouTube. And all of a sudden, we ended up with a whole bunch of customers and agency clients for our agency to help do that for them as well. And the number one thing that we talk about to all of our clients, which we have here on our website, is we don't build AI automations, we build AI systems. You've probably seen videos of NAN automations that are flashy and they look good and they're run by young guys and it looks like you should be part of that. And maybe you should, but often if you're an experienced business owner, there's a much better way to implement AI into your business. And number one is we need to build systems that actually solve problems. So in this example, which I'm going to go through in just a moment, is an actual real example of a conversation that I had just last week with a guy that sold an 8-figure business. He now has a couple of different businesses. And the thing for him is trying to get back his time in order to create content. I'm sure many people can relate to that if you're an existing business owner. But where we're going to start first before we get to that is what I call the Big Moves AI Automation Blueprint, which is there is essentially three things that happen in your business. You have your core business drivers, your core business processes that drive the outcome for your business. And you'll have different core business drivers in each of the different areas of business, being sales, marketing, products, operations, finance, people, whatever you want to call them. And then you have things that happen before that and things that happen beyond that. So in this example, I'm going to tell you about our business because I am happy to share about our business. I can't really talk about our clients. But from our business and our business core drivers, you'll understand maybe what your core business drivers are as well. And then you'll be able to understand how to actually begin working on this. And if you can understand this first and foremost, then this is going to be the highest ROI you can get with AI. So you have your core business drivers. And for us, when it comes to marketing and top of funnel, we have two things that we really focus on at the moment, or at least in the previous year, which was our YouTube channel and our AI tools reviews. So for those things, there's a core business driver that we need to do. Let's dive into the YouTube channel one, for example. So we essentially create a YouTube video, then we upload it into Airtable or into an Airtable system, which triggers an automation to download the transcript of that YouTube video. And then it uses AI to create all of the YouTube assets that we require, which is the title for the YouTube video, the thumbnail titles to choose from, the description, the timestamps, the first comment. All of those things are what I would call a core business workflow that is core to this function within the, let's call it the marketing department. So that's one example. Another one is we do our AI tools reviews. So we have a workflow for that as well, where we have new AI tools added into the database. We then do some research. We then write each of the different components of that review. We categorize the tool, we create a screenshot, and then we add all of that into Airtable for human editing. So they're like things that we have to do day in, day out. They're our core business drivers that we know that if we automate this, we're going to take our work for doing each of these down from maybe 1 or 2 hours down to maybe 10 minutes. So we're immediately saving 80% of our time just by automating this certain part of the workflow. But that's not all that happens, right? So we have things that happen before that and we have things that happen after that. So let's just focus for a moment on the YouTube example. So in order to generate a YouTube video, we first need to come up with some ideas. So a few ways that we do that is we generate new YouTube ideas based on news announcements. We could also do it based on previous videos, and we could also do it based on comments, so many different ways. So we have our core automation here, but what we've done is we've built other automations that trigger at 6 a.m. They read a newsletter source that we trust. We use AI to analyze that newsletter and decide whether it's relevant to us. If it is, then it creates a task in our system, in our Airtable system, with that idea for us to go and then create. It's the same for every other automation that we've built. So one on trending videos. So we analyze some trending videos of others and what they're creating. We analyze to see if it's relevant for us. And then if it is, we add it to the system. So if I ever need to come up with an idea, I don't have to sit here and think about it for hours. I simply look at what it gets generated in our system. I see the analysis. I see how we could actually improve it and make sure it's relevant to our audience. And then it also gives me even an intro to get started and then a few key bullet points to follow. So I literally hit record and off I go and I'm recording. Once that's done, then we run it through our main workflow that we've actually executed already. And then we have things that happen after that. So what do we do after that? Firstly, we have to upload it onto YouTube. So we have an automation that does that. I didn't even add that here. But we upload all the information into YouTube and schedule it for the right time. So there's another automation that does that. We can then turn it into social media promos. We can turn it into carousels. We can turn it into reels. We can turn it into an email promotion so we can email it to our database. So we have systems that do all of that for us as well. So I have here actually a YouTube upload system. So it creates all of those, a carousel system here that we've created. And then those get sent to our core social media posting system, which I'm going to get to in a second. So just to recap what I talked about, basically we're saying, what is the core workflow within your entire process for your marketing department, for example? What is their core thing that they do day in and day out? If you can automate that and it takes them from an hour work a day down to 10 minutes work a day, then it's kind of an 80% improvement, right? But it's not, because they no longer have to spend so much brain power in order to do that 60 minutes of work. They're just doing it for 10 minutes. So they actually have a lot more brain power to power through a whole lot more tasks. And then we start to stack these on top. So we go from saving from 1 hour down to 10 minutes. So we're saving 50 minutes. But then there's another one here where we go from 2 hours of work down to 5 minutes. So that's how we start to think about it, is we're building AI systems that are scalable, meaning we can continue to build on top of that system and get more and more of a better output. Let's continue now to reiterate that point. So let's go a little bit deeper into this conversation I've had recently, which is, for this particular business owner, he wanted to create more content, but he has a number of businesses that keeps him busy. So it's really hard to do that. And he already has a few ideas of how he wants to do that, but he just doesn't have the time to execute on it. So we could build out an AI repository for all of his content. He has a course, so we could turn his course content into social posts. And then we could also scrape ideas from industry newsletters as well. And then we could create platform-specific workflows for his content. So there are a few ideas that I came up with. And in order to demonstrate that, here's what I created for him. So essentially, this is, again, we're stacking systems. So all of these are their own individual systems and they're getting stacked. So because his main concern was content, then we could create a content command center. And we've already built this out. It looks something like this. So we have an interface inside of Airtable. We can have all of our different brands inside of there with their own unique brand voice guidelines and their excluded words. Plus, we have an integration with Metrical, which means all we need to do is just change a few IDs for Metrical, and the system itself continues to work no matter what brand we are working with. So we feed all of our social media posts into this system, and then we can schedule them from inside of this system itself. So it looks a little bit like this, where we feed in the image and a description. We can choose which platforms we want to schedule to, and with a single button click, it schedules to that platform at the time that we suggest. We could also create an email section. So we actually generate emails automatically in some workflows and we send it all here. So that's like number one, where we want to get everything into this content command center. Now, back up here, another big problem that this particular business owner had is very particular with how he wants his posts to sound. So we want to ensure that brand voice is maintained in all content generated. And this is a big problem that a lot of people have who are not really implementing AI yet. And let me tell you this, the only people that are concerned with brand voice are those who haven't yet understood these types of systems. Because the AI can generate any type of brand voice that it wants. It can replicate you down to the absolute T as long as you give it all the information that it requires. So that, of course, is the brand voice, but it is also how do you write in terms of structure. It's also giving the AI examples of your outputs that you're actually happy with and understand so that it can understand the languaging that you're actually using as well. And we have systems that actually help with that. So we've built out a GPT called the Creative Template Wizard. We give that to all of our clients. And it essentially turns a post like this that you've written into a template. So this template can now be used in any type of workflow or any type of output again in future. So not only do we feed it the brand voice, but we feed it an example of your writing. Then we feed it a template of this writing, and then we can essentially reference this template in any of these other systems. So in your course, we could take each module in your course and get it to output a piece of content written exactly like you in the exact structure that you write so that AI can replicate you better than you can replicate yourself. We also have access to certain websites where they've already found viral social media posts. So maybe you aren't that great at writing just yet, but you want to replicate what others are doing who have already gone viral. And there's already templates written just like this in different softwares that we can pull into these workflows. So there's literally no excuse in order to create content at scale once you understand these systems. But it doesn't stop there. Let's dive even further into this. And this is where it gets really exciting. What we actually do with our business and with our clients' businesses is once we have our main command center here for all of the content creation, for example, and we can do this with any part of the business. It's not just content, but we feed everything into this center. So if you wanted to create image carousels, we feed that into the content command center. If you want to generate ideas from comments, we create a system for generating the ideas from the comments. We analyze those comments and then feed it through our viral social media templates back into the command center. We can do that for all types of content systems, but that's not it. You have other parts of the business, right? Like your customer service section and your sales call section, which is often disconnected from the rest of the business. Whereas now what we can do is we can build a sales call analyzer that analyzes the transcripts. We can even analyze the video and the tone of your sales team. And the AI can find very nuanced pieces of content that you could create in order to overcome some of the objections that the potential client had within that sales call. This is very rarely ever fed back to the marketing team. Usually sales and marketing are very disconnected, but they need to be much more connected. We could find pieces of content that would have helped that salesperson overcome objections faster if that potential client had seen that content before the call. And then that then becomes part of your marketing strategy. Again, for customer service. So there could be a lot of things that customer service are answering over and over again, that if you put out more content about that thing, it would actually overcome the objections before they even became an objection in the first place. And we feed all of that back into these types of systems. So again, this is thinking on a much higher level of what we can actually use AI to do. And the best way to do this is by implementing it into your existing systems anyway. So let's talk about that now, because I have a very important framework that I want to share with you, which is how I did this last year. And I was very kind in terms of how I explain this. I told everybody, you have time, don't worry about it, but you're kind of running out of time. And I hate to say that, I don't want to be pushy, but you are running out of time. And when people feel stressed, they always start with the high risk stuff first, which is the worst place to start. Then you don't get results. And then you blame the AI automation agency, or you say AI is not for you, but you really just started in the wrong place. And the high risk things are things that you've not been doing in your business before. So chances are you don't have a bot working in your business. The chances are you don't have an AI voice assistant already. The chances are you're not generating fully AI videos already. So these are high risk things. I'm not saying don't do them. I'm saying these are much more high risk and you are not sure if you're going to get an ROI. The place that you should start is anything that you're doing manually with ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini already. So there's a lot of examples of this inside of your business where the team are doing the same thing over and over again. Now, the campaigns might be different, the content inputs might be different, but they're using relatively the same prompts day in and day out on a certain task. Anything like that should be your number one priority in automating. Again, it comes back to what we were talking about before, which is what are the core processes? These core drivers, the things that are happening day in and day out. That's where you start. If you start there, you know that you're immediately going to get back maybe a 1 hour a day, which is huge for most people and most businesses. If you have 10 team members and they all get back 1 hour a day, that's 10 hours a day. You're saving then 50 hours a week, which is a high performing team member that you're not paying because you are saving that with AI. So even if that system costs you $300 a month, $500 a month, even $5,000 a month to run, which none of them, I've never built anything that costs $5,000 a month. But even if it did, you're still saving money because you're saving your team so much time. So these are the places that you start. Choose one proven workflow in your business and automate it. Once you've automated that, then you ask yourself, what are some automations we could build before that? So like, do we need to generate ideas? And what are the things we can do after? Like, can we feed all of this into a content system? Can we connect our entire business, our marketing department, our sales department, our product department? Can we connect these all and drive a whole bunch of content ideas? So these are all the ways that we should be thinking as business owners to really level up and become great at what we do and build these systems. Like, no longer should it be the first point of call when you get busy to go out and find new team members. You've got to find them, you've got to hire them, you've got to train them, you've got to put up with all of the emotional stuff that comes with managing team members. You've got to give them holidays. I'm not saying don't do that. We should definitely do that to the right team members, but it's not the first place you have to look anymore. Like, if you spent $5, $10, $15, $20,000 building out these types of systems, you're going to save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in wages that you don't have to pay out, not to mention the amount of time and emotional energy that you'll save by not having to babysit all of your employees all the time. Now, the final thing that I want to do is a little bit more of an experimentation workflow as well, but we're really starting to dive into this into 2026 ourselves, which is for a lot of business owners who haven't implemented AI yet into their business. Typically, the number one thing is content. Everybody knows we need to be creating more content, but how is the big challenge? And a lot of people are just sticking with posts that were great to do 5, 10, 15 years ago. They don't really get any attention at the moment unless you already have an audience. So today you have to take a few more risks and start to create content that is just a little bit higher quality than a simple LinkedIn post, for example, with a few hashtags and a designed Canva image, which I cut off here to protect the ID of the clients that I spoke with. But you can see what we can actually do is we can take these old boring posts and turn them into quite flashy and attractive carousels with AI. So all of these images here were generated with AI, except we did add the text inside of Canva. However, you could 100% automate the text with AI these days as well. And you could even be somebody who has been super consistent at creating all of these and putting out 1, 2, 3 posts a day, but still just not getting traction, not getting that initial traction. You get a couple of likes here and there. You might get 1 comment a week. If you're someone like that, then we can easily go back on to all of that content that you've already generated and just really spice it up with AI generated images. So if you are somebody that's interested in a system that would do this, or if you're interested in an agency that would just go back over all of your best performing content and improve them into something like this, then make sure you reach out to us, because this is something unique to us that I've never seen anybody else build. And we actually have a really great system and strategy for this now. And I know it's going to be super beneficial for all of those types of businesses that know they need to generate content, but either don't want to be on camera or don't have the time in order to focus their attention and energy in that space. So if I look back at 2025 and some of the systems that we've built for clients, I'm actually amazed at how good our team has been in terms of like automating processes for a lot of our clients. And it's been super common that the clients that we've worked with who have automated the things they're doing day in, day out, they're the ones who have adopted those systems, 100% adoption for those systems. We have also worked with clients that have built things like AI bots to do customer service. And those types of systems, which were on the high risk list, they've not really adopted those too much. They've kind of trying it out, but they're not really focusing any time on improving it. And they kind of drop off from being a client. And so everything I've talked about in this video is from experience, from working with a whole bunch of clients, from selling hundreds of templates to a whole bunch of our customers online as well. So I would recommend that you take some time over the break to really do some planning, really understand what you and all of your team members are doing in the business day in and day out, and find those lowest risk, highest ROI opportunities in order to automate and save some time. And if you do need some help from us, then let us know. We can definitely help. But ultimately, if I could give you one last tip, find those processes that you're doing day in and day out and just automate them. So I hope this video is valuable. And if you are interested in diving into more content like this next year, we're pivoting our entire channel. We're focusing on how to help business owners drive growth with AI content that is aligned to your brand, that isn't tacky, that is actually really high-end professional luxury, things that only big brands could afford many years ago. Now we have the opportunity, no matter where you're at in your business, to actually do that for yourself as well. So if you want more of that in 2026, that is coming, subscribe, and I'll see you then. Take care.